It's the evening after the night before, and things have gone from bad to worse for me. But we're here to raise both my and your spirits, so send me positive vibes, people, and pray that Inter win more than ever, and that I negativize myself as soon as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of the Anglo-Italian Pod, Season 2, Episode 43. Of course, I'm Tommy, and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Mr.
Rory. I'm here again. And yeah, Tommy, I am here to push some positivity through the screen for you. We will talk about last night. We'll talk about your current situation. But I promise, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a silver lining. All will be okay.
It's fine. For the first time since the beginning of the pandemic, I have, ladies and gentlemen, tested positive to coronavirus. I'm feeling fine, so nothing to worry about. The only annoying thing is that I have to spend 10 long days at home. And as I was waiting for the results of my test, the sunshine was hitting my face and I was like, is this the end of winter? I was starting to feel that aperitivo outside, sort of vibe. Yeah. And then the doctor comes and he's like, sorry, mate. And I'm like, is this the usual dumb joke that nobody laughs at? I open it and it's positive. And I'm like, God damn it. So I walked back home, texted Rory. But here I am, guys. I'm feeling good. We are here for yet another episode. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Anglo-Italian Pod, on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod. Thanks for the many interactions and many questions that you've sent forward. We are going to answer as many of them as possible. And also follow our sponsor at Sports Club Maps. It's 7:42 p.m. on a Thursday night as we are recording. Rory, you're double screening. What's going on in your second screen?
We are currently at halftime at the Camp Nou, and Napoli are 1-0 up through a Zielinski goal, a beautifully worked goal. So far, the game's been I would say Barcelona have been mainly on top, but Napoli have been vicious on the break. Osimhen has looked pretty lively, but Zielinski put them 1 up, and it's all looking good. I like the feel of this tie. Like Napoli, Barcelona feels like an old UEFA Cup game, right? It feels like a kind of game from the 80s, maybe early 90s. I still expect Maradona to be playing for one of these teams. Right. I like the feel of this game. Seeing Aubameyang in the Barcelona shirt was a little bit of a shock, but then he took a shot and it went miles wide, and I was like, "Oh, there he is! Yeah, that is him. Yeah, that's him. Still in form." Yeah.
So we're gonna be updating you, even though you will know the results by the time this podcast will be published. At halftime, Dortmund down 2-0 at home against Rangers. Did you see that?
Oh my God, that is massive for Rangers. That could be huge. Like Dortmund are always a basket case, but that is a surprise. It's in Glasgow, right?
No, they're playing in Dortmund, actually.
My God, that's incredible.
Rangers are up 2-0 away from home. Goals by Tavernier and Morelos, while our boys from FC Sheriff are currently winning 1-0 against Braga. And it's quite the first half between Zenit St. Petersburg and Real Betis, 2-3 at halftime. What a
Betis.
tie.
Guys, if there's anybody who's watching La Liga this year, or if you're not watching La Liga, watch any Betis game. They are incredibly exciting. Really good team to watch this season. I've been catching a little bit of them on DAZN this year. Players like Nabil Fekir, always great to watch. Hector Bellerin, loving life again, rocking a mullet. It's great. Really, really great team to watch.
Hector Bellerin rocking a mullet, really?
Mate, his hair, it's like, but Bellerin, he can pull it off. He kind of still looks cool, even though it's a mullet. It's weird.
Yeah. Rory, do you think that in our lifetime, are we going to see Bellerin in Milan to both play football and take part in the Milan Fashion Week?
Oh, God, I hope so. I would love, honestly, I'd love to meet him. I can definitely see him in an Inter shirt.
Yeah, I can see him as well. Yeah. Why not? But guys, in this episode, we are going, of course, to review the 4 Champions League fixtures from this week, including Inter Milan against Liverpool. Probably that's where we'll start from. And then we're going to preview...
We'll see if there's any time left afterwards.
Yeah. And then we're going to preview this weekend across Serie A and the Premier League. Rory, if we're done with the introduction, shall we inflate the blimp and fly to Neon for the UEFA fixtures?
Let's go. I've never been before.
It was Champions League week, and the results are PSG 1, Real Madrid 0. Sporting Lisbon 0 and Manchester City 5 after Guardiola praised them in the press conference before the game. Inter Milan 0, Liverpool 2, and Salzburg 1, Bayern Munich 1. Rory, let's start from Paris. Now, I didn't get to watch this game since I was busy on Tuesday night, busy getting COVID, but I did watch the highlights. I did, of course, see Kylian Mbappe's goal. We're going to get there. How was the rest of the 90 minutes?
Pretty dull. It wasn't like Real Madrid didn't come to play football. I think Real Madrid came to just let's get out of here 0-0 and we'll take them back to the Bernabeu. I think there was a lot of people talking about how, and I'd be intrigued to get your view on this, Tommy, because I'm not sure if I agreed. A lot of people were saying they put it solely down to the removal of away goals. They were like, now that the away goals have no value, Real Madrid are just taking a 0-0 and they're leaving. But I also thought, I seem to remember that last year we had this conversation about teams not wanting to attack when they were away, like Mourinho kind of style of just let's get a 0-0, then get them back at home. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's made a huge difference?
I actually last night when I was at the San Siro on the 0-0, people at the 75th minute were just like, it kind of sucks that the away goals don't count anymore, right? 0-0. As soon as Liverpool scored, we were just like, it's actually a pretty tight rule, you know. Now, I don't know what went through Ancelotti's mind, but looking at the stats and the highlights, it really felt like there was no motivation whatsoever to score any away goals. Maybe it's also because of this new rule, but it feels like Real Madrid recently have been going through a bit of a slump. Over the past 5 games, only 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 defeats, and they've managed to score a grand total of 3 goals only over 5 games.
Yeah, well, they drew 0-0 with Villarreal before this, right? They really have been struggling for form. Like, even Gareth Bale's getting on the pitch, right? They're like, oh, for God's sake, let's just see if it works. So yeah, we can't be too surprised that they didn't score. But for PSG, it was a really good performance, a really solid performance. There's still some players there that confuse me as to how they're there. I think Mendes, is it, at the left back or right back? I'm not quite sure who he is. Idrissa Gueye came on and I was like, oh, that guy. I forgot he existed. But the players that really stood out for me were the players that always stand out. Now, another thing that kind of Marco Verratti, right? This guy, is he the most complete midfielder in world football? I think...
Well, there are arguments in his favor for sure. I'll let you continue.
Like seeing him, like Modric came on late, right? And I thought maybe Modric is the closest to like a complete midfielder, or the only other player you could say is above Verratti as like a complete midfielder, maybe. But I feel like Verratti absolutely dominated this game again. We've talked about it before. His ability to find space, his ability to pick a pass, his ability to kind of win the ball back and get those transitions going. He is an unbelievable player. I really, really wish he was playing in Italy. Like, I wish he was in Serie A. I think, like, obviously he loves it at PSG. I think he will win a Champions League there eventually. But I can't help feeling that he's kind of wasting his career at PSG and he should be in Serie A. What do you think?
I think he's absolutely living the life in Paris. Did you see he's become the first footballer to buy property in the metaverse? He's bought an island today in the metaverse. The guy is making a shit ton of money.
Anyway, right? Yeah.
The guy is making a shit ton of money, and I think he's the only Italian that the French people don't absolutely despise. The guy he had the most touches and the most tackles throughout the game. I think that the most impressive thing is that this guy is 1.65 meters. And is not afraid to slide into any tackle, no matter how big, how rocky the defender or the midfielder is. The guy is always there, can always pick up a pass. And at the end of the game, Neymar, who's played alongside some talent, said that he's on the same category as Xavi and Iniesta. And it's not the first time that you hear this kind of praise. I feel like Guardiola said the same thing back in the day. He said, if I could pick one player from any other team, that would be Marco Verratti in midfield. We've heard over and over again how much time Guardiola has for midfielders. Ancelotti before the game.
His team is basically just midfield.
Exactly. He's Ancelotti. He was his first manager at PSG. He praised him before the game. He said that there was a reason why he's one of the few cases of a player coming straight from Serie B to PSG, the biggest club in France, like right off the bat. Like people didn't have a doubt about about it. Apparently, Leonardo was all over him. There were rumors of him maybe going to Inter, maybe going to Juventus. PSG made sure to make the right offer, and they snatched him. And he's been consistent throughout, and he's played alongside some incredible players. There was a period when he used to pick up way too many yellow cards. He still did pick up one against Real Madrid, but it feels like he's matured a lot, and he also has got that under control a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm always incredibly impressed by him. He's one of my favorite players to watch. On my scouting course, as you'll know, I have to scout or analyze the game Barcelona versus PSG from last year's Champions League. And the player I've chosen to focus on is Marco Verratti, because I just really, really enjoy watching everything he does. So I think he really stood out in this game. But we need to talk about the main moment, the moment that PSG definitely deserved. They did leave it late, the 94th minute.
But first, Lionel Messi missing a penalty.
Oh, God. Yeah, I completely forgot. Now, Lionel Messi, is he bad at penalties? I feel like his success rate isn't that great. And for a player who's so incredible at everything else, for him to have a fairly average, I'm going to put my neck on the line and say his penalty conversion rate isn't great. It just seems like some weird tautology, if you know what I mean, like one of the greatest players of all time kind of stuffs up one of the simplest skills quite often. It was a huge moment, but Mbappé did fish him out of the shit.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely. No. I didn't know the expression that you. Can you repeat it, please? He did.
He fished him out of the shit.
He fished him out of the shit. I do love this one. Well, we have to say, I heard, and from the highlights, it did look like it. Like
3-0 Rangers. Sorry, 3-0 Rangers.
Jesus. I heard that Thibaut Courtois had an incredible game besides the penalty that he saved from Lionel Messi. But yes, then it all came down to the very last minute of play. A certain Neymar, which always sounds like whenever I say that Neymar is one of my favorite players, I've said it over and over again on the pod, he's one of the few players to try and still play that sort of like Ronaldinho type of football. Gets on the pitch at the 72nd minute, at the 94th, it all starts from his pass. Then, I mean, it's not like he put Mbappé in front of goal, but backheel pass to Mbappé. And then, Rory, take us through that play. What happened right there?
It was. Now, in the previous round of fixtures in Ligue 1, Mbappé did a Thierry Henry tribute by kind of doing the casual lean celebration on the corner flag, a tribute to Thierry Henry. This goal was a tribute to Thierry Henry. This was the way he snaked through those players, just slit the ball through him and just stroked it into the far corner. Absolutely beautiful goal. Just sums him up as a player, just like that exciting, dynamic, fast, strong, like composed. Just what a goal and what a moment. 94th minute. I think Real really thought they'd got away with it, but PSG definitely deserved it. It was a good audition for his future team, right? Although there are rumors now that PSG have just added another like 100 grand a week on his wage.
Man, the storyline, if he does end up going to Real Madrid, it's beautiful. It's just like the year before going to Real Madrid, he scored that decisive goal at the Parc des Princes. Man, I just love how the two players, Militao and I don't remember who the other one was, just stand still like statues as he's going through them. They're just like, no, let's not make contact in the penalty box. And boom, he's gone. Yeah. He's just gone. And a second later, he's already scored. Thibaut Courtois, I feel like he did really his best, going with his long leg, trying to avoid that shot, went underneath his hamstring in 1-0 PSG. And now it's all going to be played for at the Bernabeu. Do you think that Real Madrid can overturn the score?
I think they have a chance, but they need to actually try and attack and score goals for that to happen. I think PSG, I'm going to, you know me, guys, I flip-flop on my predictions fairly regularly. Guess what? I think PSG are going to go through. No, I think Real definitely have a chance, but they need to actually show a bit of attacking intent. I think Ancelotti really got this one wrong. While I finish this sentence, this game in Dortmund's kicking off. It's now 3-1. Bellingham has just scored an absolute worldie as well. This game's getting exciting.
Wow. And at the end, the stats read the PSG 21 total shots, Real Madrid 3 total shots, 0 on target, 8 for the Parisiens. And so it's 1-0, everything to be played for at the Bernabeu in the return fixture, which will take place on March 9th. It's going to be a Wednesday, but before then, we're going to have quite a few episodes to remind you about this game. And then in Lisbon, one of the toughest oppositions that apparently Guardiola could draw in the Champions League.
Right behind
Sporting
Arsenal,
Lisbon.
Grimsby Town, and Cheltenham Town. Yeah.
And you forgot Luton, right? Yes, Sporting Lisbon collapse unexpectedly against Man City, 5-0. 2 of these goals are from another world. I'm referring to Bernardo Silva's. Man, how do you hit that ball like that right under the crossbar and the Sterling to make it 5-0? We were talking about him in the latest pod. What a fucking player.
Man, the guy, he's still like, I think he might be City's top scorer this year now. He's been unbelievable. And City, at times, this was exhibition football. Their ability to constantly get behind defenses, knock it across the 6-yard box for a tap in is mind blowing. For Sporting Club de Portugal, there was an argument online about teams and what you call them. We'll get onto it. Their fans were incredible. Even at 5-0 down, they were going pretty hard. So I think they knew what they were watching. They were watching a team at their peak. And as always, City, this time of year, they're just unstoppable. It all hinges on the fact of will Guardiola finally not overthink when they get to the final? Because I think there's not many teams that are going to stop them getting to the final this year. Yeah, we called it. Sporting were going to struggle, and they did. And now Guardiola has said that then they're still not through. But
come on,
I mean,
at some point it just sounds
technically you're right,
patronizing,
I suppose. But...
Well, but at one point it just sounds patronizing. Like,
yeah, no, it is.
It's just annoying. I would hate it if I was the Sporting coach hearing, yeah, we're like halfway through. No, you're not halfway through. Come on, 5-0 away from home. What are you going to do? Collapse 6-0 at the Etihad?
Man, he does it to Arsenal every year, and it winds me up. I'm just like, just say we're crap. If we're crap, just say we're crap. I don't want you being patronizing. Oh, they really are very good. They're getting a lot better as they just slap us 4-0. Like, just don't say anything, please. Like, it is incredibly infuriating. But there was fans online. Now, Tommy, how strongly do you feel about this? An English pundit, who's a bit of an idiot, but Jake Humphries, he said AC for AC Milan, right? He just called them AC. And this kicked off a huge argument on Twitter with similar people arguing about if you can call sporting, right? I personally couldn't give a shit, but people were really getting their arse in their hand about this, about, no, you have to call the team by their proper name. Like, you can't say Inter Milan. Like, how much do you give a crap about these things? I couldn't care less.
I couldn't care less either.
Yeah.
I mean, Inter should be Inter. In Italy, Milan is Milan, but abroad, everybody calls it AC Milan and Inter Milan, and they couldn't give a flying fuck. Like, as long
there
as
we go, guys. Our public announcement is just chill out. There's bigger things to worry about, right? There's much bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, no. As long as people can put them on a map and know their history and they know what league they play in, that's fine. Like, then call them whatever you want. I guess Sporting is Sporting, but maybe you go to Portugal and they have a nickname that nobody else knows of outside of Portugal.
Yeah.
But let's move to Wednesday, and it's finally time for Inter Liverpool 0-2. Well, I was at the stadium, ladies and gentlemen. As you should know, if you're regular listeners of the pod, the atmosphere was incredible. The San Siro, the Nerazzurro side of San Siro, had been waiting 10 long years for this moment. And for 75 minutes of football, it really felt like Inter Milan were 1 inch away from scoring at least one goal. Things didn't unfold. Substitutions were made from Klopp, and it just took Liverpool 15 minutes to turn up the gears and just start playing real competitive football. And they won 2-0. 2 shots on target, 2 goals. This comes 2 weeks after allowing 3 shots on target from AC Milan and conceding 2 goals. It comes to a point where you're just like, maybe you shouldn't even concede those 2 shots, right? If you've managed to keep them out of your penalty box for that long, just keep doing whatever you're doing. Rory, I will let you go first, and then I will tell you my impressions of the game.
I thought it was an interesting game. I thought it was intriguing. I was very, very nervous. This is the most I've wanted Inter to win in a while. I really, really was heavily invested in this game. I felt like Inter, kept Liverpool at arm's length to a degree for most of the game, apart from the first 15 minutes of the second half. I think you're right to highlight the Klopp substitutions. I think Inzaghi, there needs to be serious questions about his ability to manage in big games. I think he kind of fluffed his lines a little bit or didn't even say his lines last night. He waited a long time. And I think the problem for Inter is we thought for a while that you weren't missing Lukaku. I think enough players were scoring that we thought, okay, he's not like it's not a major miss. Last night, he was a massive miss. Whether he's in form for Chelsea or not, for Inter, he was in form and he would have made a difference last night. I think Martinez lacked the courage at time to actually try and take the game. There was a moment where he was running forward. He saw Van Dijk and just turned around. At that moment, I'm like, okay, well, Van Dijk knows he's won the mental battle at least. Like, it's not exactly like Van Dijk's going, okay, well, he's not going to be a problem for the rest of the night. I think Dzeko did well when he had the ball. He was isolated every single time. I felt like it was just him on his own. The only players I think that really can take massive credit for Inter are Çalhanoğlu, who was unbelievable, just up and down that pitch, created chances, should have scored, was unlucky to hit the crossbar. Perisic was unbelievable. I think Dumfries was active up and down that pitch. But I think the rest of the players can't really walk away with much pride. And also, we have to say Barella would have made a bit of a difference, but I don't think he would have made enough of a difference.
I'll start from this one. Barella wasn't missed that much last night because Arturo Vidal had an incredible game. I feel like Arturo Vidal is one of the key players from last night in our midfield. Definitely played the best game of his season so far. A lot of people were just like, don't worry, Vidal, when he hears the Champions League anthem, he's just going to turn on the gears. And he did. He was absolutely crucial last night in midfield.
There was a great tackle from him where he slid, missed, and then just decided to barrel roll, but managed to actually tackle the Liverpool player. It was great. Yeah. Like classic Vidal. I absolutely loved it.
Let's start from the very beginning. UEFA, fuck you, but at the same time, thank you for not selling booze at the stadium during international fixtures. Fuck you, because it was nerve-wracking to watch that 90 minutes of football sober. But thank you, because at the same time right now, I will be able to analyze the game much better than I would be if I had drank 16 beers last night. So that said, I have to say that the first thing that really worried me about Liverpool's lineup were the wingers, starting from Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. Next thing you know, Liverpool kind of overlooked our wings. And Perisic, as you said, had an incredible game. And when Çalhanoğlu got the crossbar, it was Trent Alexander-Arnold. He couldn't keep up with Perisic's pace, and that happened over and over again.
I think he had a difficult night defensively. Trent, he really did. He got exposed a lot in that first half, I think.
So that is the first thing that I noticed about Inter Milan. Our wings were really, really pushing, and I didn't think they could win the contest against Liverpool's Robertson and Trent. I'm just going to call him Trent because I always stumble when I try to pronounce it. T-A-A.
It'll add another half an hour onto the pod if you say his full name every single time.
Trent Alexander-Arnold. But so I was very impressed with the wings right away. The thing that you started noticing at the stadium, we played pretty well defensively, but our defenders were always on the ground. Skriniar had a very good game. De Vrij, until that moment that we're going to get to, had a pretty good game, but they were always on the ground. And if your defenders are always going in for a slide tackle, it means that they really had to, take away that moment from Liverpool.
What's the Maldini quote? If you have to slide tackle, you've made a mistake. Yeah.
And we did a lot of slide tackles throughout the entire game. Liverpool did look quite dangerous in the first half. They had a few opportunities. There was a bicycle kick from Sané. Sané also had a header right over the bar. But then Inter could create plays. The thing that was missing was just somebody up front that could just slam it inside the net. Again, I was happy that Inter tried to dictate the play throughout a big part of the first half, but then Liverpool are such a good team. They're so composed. Even when they allowed something for Inter's offense, they never really looked in incredible danger, except that Çalhanoğlu crossbar. And we get to the second half, when the first 15 minutes, I was just like, here, we are going to score a goal. Because we started with an incredible energy. But as you said, we missed a Lukaku, somebody that just runs forward and fucking shoots on target. There were at least 3 opportunities when Inter looked for that annoying pass that your mate will always look for in FIFA rather than shoot on target, look for the man in the middle. But Liverpool are no mugs. Like, they've got a good defense. Van Dijk was everywhere. They intercepted every single ball.
Man, Konate was unbelievable last night as well. He was unbelievable last night.
Very, very good game. And there was an opportunity when Vidal decided to chest it to Lautaro. Just fucking shoot on target. Dzeko tries to put it in the middle. Just fucking try to shoot on target. Of course, it feels like at times it felt like that was a direction that they were given from the manager. Like, try to look for the easy pass in the middle, because it looked like they were never really trying to shoot towards Alisson. And then at around the 75th minute, let me check exactly when it was. At the 60th minute, it's the moment where Klopp makes 3 additional substitutions after Firmino in for Jota. Luis Diaz comes in from Mane. Anderson comes in for Fabinho. Keita comes in for Elliott. And I feel like at that moment, despite our bench not being the same as Liverpool's, that's when you got to bring in fresh energies. I mean, it almost felt a little bit arrogant from Simone Inzaghi. Like, what are you expecting right now? This is their starting lineup, pretty much, except for Mane out.
Well, this is it. And it's also like, I think because Jota's been doing so well, people have forgotten how good Firmino is. I think you're bringing in Henderson, who is just that calm head, the experienced captain, the guy who's going to, like, when the game was starting to look like it was getting away from Liverpool, they brought on their experienced head, they brought on the captain. He's going to calm it down, control that midfield. I think that needed to be addressed. And then you've got Keita as well, who's just going to be that non-stop energy across that midfield, just running, disrupting. I think, look, that was the moment where Klopp that's where he earns his money, right? That is managing a game. That is managing a game and ultimately winning a game. For Inzaghi, you're right. He was too slow to react. And I think, but then also I saw a comparison of the benches. Their bench is a lot stronger than yours, right? You're bringing on Ranocchia and Gagliardini. Like, it's not the same.
Absolutely not the same, but at the same time, try to, for example, Di Marco. I know, Rory, that you wanted to say something about concussion protocol. From the first half, De Vrij was complaining about having gotten half a concussion probably, and he couldn't really see. He looked at the bench twice. We could see it from way up in the stadium that he looked at the bench and said, I can't really see. Why the fuck don't you substitute him at that point?
I think there's a problem, and this is like off the top of my head, really, but I think like, well, the suggestion I'm going to make is off the top of my head, but I think there's a real issue with like concussion protocol. The fact that it was clear for everyone to see that he was like, I've got double vision, I can't see. At that point, he needs to be taken off. Now, the problem is no manager is going to go, I'm going to take my star player off, especially when no player is going to turn around and go, yeah, I can't play in the biggest game of our season, right? So there's no willingness from both those sides, right? I almost feel like there needs to be, and I'm expecting backlash on this, or because it could be a stupid idea, but there almost needs to be like a medical officer in the stadium for concussion protocol that needs to be like, right, this player is concussed, he needs to come off, like, and take the power away from the team or the manager and be like, no, there's no choice, this guy is coming off, because there's no willingness from either side. And it makes sense. But at that point, like the research that we're seeing about concussion and how dangerous it can be, and like, especially in later life, like this needs to be taken seriously. And I think it needs to come from UEFA. It needs to come from FIFA. There needs to be more. It needs to be taken more seriously, basically. And I don't know if the invigilator is a good idea. It's an idea, but something needs to be done about it, because it can be dangerous.
And at that point, I would have honestly started the second half without De Vrij. You put Di Marco in. He's showed in the game against Napoli that he could play very well as the left center back. So you place Bastoni in the middle or Skriniar in the middle, and then you have Di Marco on the left. We needed fresh energies. We needed somebody who could run along the pitch, caught Liverpool high in the pitch. I think Di Marco would have been a great substitution, but then when you bring him in at what are these 3 changes at the 87th minute? Really?
Yeah, oh man, this is
the
like
game was
classic.
gone. At that point, the game was gone.
This is classic. Like, I need to look like I'm doing something.
Yeah.
It's like, it's classic. Oh, I fucked it. He's lost track of time and he's gone, okay, I need to, right, what can we do? Fresh legs, energy, let's just, like, it's massive, just let's look busy. Like,
yeah. No, and that at that point, after the 75th minute, I have to say the Inter supporters, me included, were fucking insane last night. We were singing the entire game. At the 80th minute,
was incredible.
At the 80th minute, we started, you could hear it in the stands too, the worries starting to pile up. And after the second goal, man, the Liverpool supporters, at a point, they started singing, "You'll Never Walk Alone." And the rest of the stadium was just silent. It really felt like the players were feeling that too. We started missing some very easy passes, easy passes. And at the point the game was gone, unfortunately, as you said, our bench is not the same as Liverpool's. Even bringing in Sanchez for Lautaro Martinez, Sanchez, as good of a player as he is not somebody who is going to change this type of game against.
He's also not at his peak anymore. He's going to have moments. He's not going to have like consistent performances. It's going to be moments. And I think that is another like Hail Mary pass, if you know what I mean. Like, right, just throw him in and hope he pings one in from 30 yards, if you know what I mean. Like, that seemed like the tactical plan. But we need to talk about who he was replacing, right? He replaced Martinez, right?
Yeah.
So Martinez, I was seeing in 10 Champions League games now, he hasn't gotten a goal or an assist.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a problem with Martinez? He's recently signed a new contract. There was a lot of teams after him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not been in great form this season. What's been happening with him?
I think Dzeko is not the greatest partnership for him up front. I feel like I think you're talking about 10 games overall, not the 10 Champions League games, but I think Dzeko is not the best partnership for him. It worked much, much better with Lukaku alongside him. They were an incredible partnership. Dzeko, we've seen, like, if Lukaku started to run forward, then Lautaro Martinez was always there. Where right now it feels like Lautaro Martinez has to give him that perfect ball, without which Dzeko, we've seen it over and over. Dzeko cannot really run towards goal. He kind of shits in pants. He's not a youngin anymore. Mm-hmm. He's got his age. But yeah, I think Lautaro Martinez is still an incredible player. Dzeko is a good substitution for the situation that we found ourselves in. But next year, if we want to compete in Europe at top levels, we need another big name. This is the third game that we play against this season, against an opposition much better than us, whose roster is much better than ours. 2 games against Real Madrid, 1 against Liverpool. We lost all 3 games 2-0. Mm-hmm. That means something. We were never able to score in these 3 games. I would be happy if at Anfield, miracles happen in football. Roma made a miracle in Liverpool. Maybe we'll make one too. I'm not too confident, but I just want to see an Inter goal in this knockout fixture, at least 1 goal. That would make me happy already. I would be like, all right, that's the step up that we need this season.
Well, we got some listeners' questions, Tommy. Should we go through some listeners' questions and pick apart the game a little bit more before we can move on to another topic?
Yeah.
I'll torture you a little bit longer, Tommy, and then we can move on.
Yeah, let me find the questions. Sorry, I was on the wrong chat, and I'm going to find the Rory's. I'm not going to cut this bit out. It makes it more authentic.
No, this is admin. This is action as it happens, guys.
The Hopeless Wanderer podcast says, is Inzaghi's tactics starting to piss off Tommy for the big game occasions? It feels like Inter may have challenges next season from other clubs, and this season might be his best opportunity to make a mark. The constant taking off of Lautaro makes no sense, bar Liverpool. What do you say, Rory?
Yeah, well, is it pissing you off? It looks like it's pissing you off. I think we've gone through the fact that Inter are in this tough run of fixtures, and I'm saying he's getting a CD grade for how well you've done across these fixtures so far. Like, it's not going very well. Losing to Milan, drawing against Napoli, losing to Liverpool. He's not doing particularly well in these big games.
Drawing against Juve, drawing against Milan. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like there is a trend, right? I think the replacement of Martinez is a confusing one, but then, as we just said, he's not been in great form. He didn't really look like scoring last night, so I can kind of see why he did it. But yeah, I think in the big games, he's just maybe a little bit too cautious, or he's not willing to take that risk. What do you think, Tommy?
I think the same. I was listening to the radio on the way back from the stadium, and a listener said, I feel like a manager like Klopp with Inzaghi's squad, he would try and get a little more creative, maybe play with Dzeko up front and Lautaro and Sanchez on the sides. Why not? I feel like when you have this problem with the roster, that you don't have that many good players that you can bring in, you need to get a little bit creative. And that's where Inzaghi, who's having an incredible season, lacks a little bit of talent, in my opinion. I wish I could see some creativity from him. Even that substitution, you guys know I'm no coach, I'm no manager, I'm not an expert in tactics, but take De Vrij off and bring Di Marco in. Also because then De Vrij, this is the third game across the last 4 fixtures where he made a big, costly mistake for us. That Salah goal came from
his terrible clearance.
Clearance. Yeah, he barely touched it and just gave it to Salah. Man, that goal, so fucking bad. Like, he's just so bad to see.
It was
so bad.
Now, Chris was trying to claim it as a double nutmeg, and I was like, it went through 2 players' legs, but I don't think it was anywhere near intentional. He was just kind of gifted it, right? But yeah, that's a frustrating goal to concede. And I think we actually can't blame Handanovic for not diving for that one. That was just, he was completely unsighted. I think.
Well, I heard people slagging him off for the first goal, but dude, the first goal was so difficult to catch. That one was an incredible goal by Firmino. The second one, yes, still, he looks like, you know what he looks like sometimes? You know, an old man going to the recycling bin where you throw away the glass and you kind of like bend down to get the bottle and put it up. He kind of like look caught farting while pulling one of those bottles out of the bag. Yeah, it's difficult to save, but I would have loved to see him like sprint slightly towards the ball. Then you don't save it, but at least the reaction, you know.
Look busy.
Busy. The second question comes from our friend Monde Sportif on Twitter. He says, question for Tommy. Would you have this man at Inter? Is he a priority? The man is Paulo Dybala. Well, I think that Dybala, Martinez up front would be definitely a very, very interesting partnership to Argentinians. And I feel like Dybala can definitely run more towards goal than Dzeko can. We'll see. I don't know if he's a priority. But definitely I think it would be, he would make a great partnership with Lautaro. And last night, maybe with him on the pitch and Lautaro up front, we would have done more than with Dzeko.
I also think you could do that 3 thing with like Dzeko, Lautaro, and Dybala just behind him. I think would be pretty good. Like Dybala is good in that little like just behind the striker, just off the striker. Yeah, exactly. I think a kind of Dzeko or someone in his mold with Lautaro and Dybala behind him could be pretty exciting. If it seems that like Inzaghi doesn't want to go for like a 4-3-3 with like 2 wide players, I think maybe Dybala and Martinez off a striker could be good. But I think you're right about Dzeko as well, but he's definitely only a stopgap thing, right? They paid 1 million. It was like, right, he'll do a job for a season while we find someone else.
He's doing a hell of a job.
That's the vibe I got, right?
Let's not forget he's doing a hell of a job.
Yeah.
He's just not a star player that is going to be decisive in these games. Question for Rory. This question comes from... God, I hate this question. Always from our friend Monde Sportif. Question for Rory. Would this man smash it at Inter? Is it time for a change? And the man is Lacazette. Rory, what is your answer?
Yeah, take him. No. I really like Lacazette, but he is not a goal scorer. He's not a goal scorer.
That's what we need, goddammit.
I know, yeah. It's what we fucking need, and we've got him. He does all the work. He does all the build-up play, holding the ball up, bringing people into play. He's a really blood, sweat, and tears for the team. I don't think he's going to solve Inter's problems. I don't think he's going to solve many people's problems. I think he's destined for Lyon. It seems it looks like he's going to go for a homecoming where he'll inevitably score 40 goals a season again. But I love Lacazette, but I do not think he's what Inter needs. I would enjoy seeing him in Serie A, though. Maybe not Inter.
Can Inter overturn the score and then we'll move on to the next game, Rory?
No.
No, I know.
I know. I'm sorry, but I think Anfield. There's
on
not
a Champions League night.
Yeah, there's not many. I think there's a lot of football myths that I think are like bullshit and get overplayed, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake. Anfield on a Champions League night, I kind of believe in. I think there's enough history of proof where you're like, there's something there. So I think, look, it would be akin to like Roma coming back against Barcelona, but bigger. I think like it would be huge, but I think Liverpool are gonna, Sorry, Tommy. Next year, next year when you get Arsenal in the knockout rounds and you just stroll to the quarterfinals, there you go. That could be your reward.
And the last game that we needed to review, it's a game that Rory said no chance whatsoever. Red Bull Salzburg, Die Roten Bullen from Salzburg, make it 1-1 against Bayern München. And I think this is the closest name to my last name that I've ever seen in football. Adamu scoring.
Adamu, so close. So
Adamu,
close.
just one vowel. Scoring at the 21st minute and Bayern Munich equalizing at the 90th. Now, I don't think this result really matters anyways, but it must have been heartbreaking for the Salzburg fans to see that goal go in. Also, such a weird goal, so avoidable at the 90th minute mark. Coleman, the man who years ago said he was going to quit football, then kind of backtracked on his footsteps, still there, still banging goals. It's 1-1. And did you get to watch any of this game, Rory?
I watched the extended highlights because I do actually enjoy Red Bull Salzburg because I've been using them on Football Manager fairly consistently by just picking all of their players. And two wonder kids that Football Manager players will be more than aware of. Adeyemi was unbelievable in this game, really caused a problem. Bayern Munich are having defensive issues this year. We've seen the fact they conceded 4 to Bochum the weekend before. They are not as solid as they used to be. But Adeyemi had an incredible game. And Kamara in midfield, 22 years old, absolutely ran the midfield. Just every time, he was just constantly winning the ball, turning, building an attack. Winning the ball, turning, building an attack. It was amazing to watch. As I said, 22 years old. And the stats from this game, he won 9 out of 12 ground duels, won all of his aerial duels, completed 4 out of 5 dribbles, 4 tackles, 1 interception. He absolutely killed the game. This was against Tolisso and Kimmich in midfield, right? This is not and these are not amateur players that he's going up against, right? He is up against the best in the game, and he was running it completely. He's a player that is definitely going to be poached soon enough, I would say. Another player who has kind of taken the headlines a little bit, an American, Brendan Aronson, who's kind of been targeted a little bit by Leeds. Again, completed 100% of his take-ons, 83% pass completion, 2 shots, an assist. I think Leeds fans are hoping that he kind of doesn't get too much attention because they will want him at Elland Road. But it kind of shows more, like these individual performances show that it wasn't just a smash and grab by Salzburg. They played really, really well. And if anything, it was kind of smash and grab by Bayern. Like they definitely had a few chances. Gnabry should have scored 1 or 2 from memory. Coleman arguably could have been sent off. There was a tackle where he kind of went for the tackle, but then just kicked the player in the shins. He got a yellow card, and I think it was an orange card. I think if that's an Arsenal player, as Arsenal fans are saying a lot on Twitter, if that's Granit Xhaka, that's a red card. So I think he was quite lucky there. But Salzburg killed it. But I think also you're right. They now have to go to the Allianz Arena. They did have a chance to go 2 up. They had a really good chance to go 2 up. I think at that point, maybe they have a chance of taking something, of just holding out at the Allianz. But at 1-1, you're looking like Bayern are gonna get through still. But a great performance and a great night for them, even if it ended slightly disappointingly.
And I don't know if you already mentioned it, but from the highlights that I saw, Philipp Köhn, the Swiss goalkeeper for Red Bull Salzburg, had a very good game. There was one save especially, I don't remember on who it was, where he kind of like stopped the shot. The ball bounced back towards the Bayern forward, and he kind of
was
like
from Sane, I think.
From Sane. He kind of crawled back to it, saved it again. Sane could have tapped it in again, and then he blocked it. And I mean, to crawl while a guy is about to kick the ball on your face, to crawl towards the ball, it takes some balls. He's only 23 years old, and he looks pretty promising. First time I've really heard about him. Of course,
this Salzburg team, honestly, just look at any of them. Look at any of them, and you're like, okay, these are all going to be playing in Europe's top 5 leagues over the next 10 years. They are just producing players at a ridiculous rate.
One last thing that I want to say before we leave the Champions League is that during PSG Real Madrid, there was an incident that a lot of Inter Milan fans noticed on Twitter. It was a foul for which Casemiro picked up a yellow card in the second half. It was a pretty bad foul on Paredes. He got a yellow card, but before getting the yellow card, Paredes kind of got up to him and was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And Casemiro grabbed him by the neck. Now, a lot of Inter fans thought, do you remember when Barella was kicked towards the ad boards on the side and then just reacted like a little kid, like instinctively, like fuck you, and kind of punched him in the leg? He got a red for that. How is a man staring at another man and very calmly grabbing his neck not a red card? What do you say, Rory?
Casemiro does this shit all the time. Like, Casemiro is a dirty bastard. He's a very skillful, classy player, but he's a dirty bastard. And you're right, it should have been a red card. Again, it's spread from the Premier League. It's into the Champions League. Where is the consistency? It's incredibly infuriating because, again, that's a moment that can completely turn a game, and PSG could be 2-3 up, heading to the Bernabeu, going, okay, we're in the quarterfinals. It's massive, I think, and especially golden for Inter fans as you've just watched a Barella-less midfield struggle. Particularly irritating.
And I just wanted to say one thing, that before the game between the PSG and the Real Madrid, the PSG president said, look, guys, I'm honestly not going to lie. There is no relationship between us and Real Madrid. They believe in another type of football that we do. They believe in a football where small teams are not supposed to have a chance. So I read the quote posted by...
Wait, who said that? PSG said that?
Yeah. They said that. And
I had to double check, sorry.
There was a quote-unquote by the PSG president, and the comment that I saw underneath on Instagram said, wait. Is that the president of the team that is playing with Hakimi, Verratti, Donnarumma, Neymar, Messi, Mbappé, Chuck Norris, and Arnold Schwarzenegger? Sorry, guys, just checking. I thought it was a great meme. Great meme. Oh, the things you say at a press conference. Things you say. But as we move on to the weekend preview, guys, it's going to be a shorter episode than usual. Barcelona have equalized through a Ferran Torres penalty. Rory, are you still watching?
I am. I didn't want to interrupt you. It was a handball. It was a fairly obvious handball. I can't remember who it was who gave it away. I'm going to blame it on Juan Jesus, but I don't think it was. It was a fairly obvious handball. The game's kind of petering out a little bit. Barcelona are throwing everything at it, and Napoli look to be trying to take this to the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona and try and ride it out. The Dortmund Rangers game is now 4-2. Absolute insanity. And Zenit Betis is now 2-3. So still plenty of goals there. Oh, no, that was from the first half, right?
Yeah.
No goals in that game yet.
No goals in the second half yet. And listeners, you will already know the results by the time you're listening of the other games that are going to kick off on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Atalanta Olympiacos, FC Porto Lazio, RB Leipzig, Real Sociedad, Sevilla, Dinamo Zagreb. But Rory, I know that you're probably not going to watch any of these games. We need to give her a shout out because what's happening tonight? Whose birthday is it?
It's the girlfriend's birthday. It is. She's turning 21.
No, we don't say that.
21.
Rory, I think you've been dating for almost 4 years. You don't want to say 21, right?
My maths is terrible.
That would make it 17 when
Officer, no. Wait.
She's turning a few years.
Happy birthday, darling.
26.
If you're listening, Algodi, I'm about to cook you dinner.
Happy birthday, Tiziana. What are you going to cook her, Rory?
She really likes shepherd's pie, so it's going to be shepherd's pie.
All right, and very quickly, Rory, just to make our listeners not disappointed with our wrong predictions only. Final score of Atalanta Olympiacos. Who's going to win?
Olympiacos 1-0.
I say Atalanta are going to win 1-0. FC Porto Lazio, who are the winners?
Porto 3-0. I don't like Lazio.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to say a draw, 2-2. And since the predictions are already quite crazy, we're not going to predict RB Leipzig, Real Sociedad, and Sevilla, Dinamo Zagreb. But it's time to preview this weekend's fixtures. Rory, what have we got going on in the mighty, jolly Premier League?
We've got an exact copy of the first round of fixtures from the Premier League weekend. I'm not sure why this happens, but every so often you just get a complete repeat. So we've got West Ham taking on Newcastle on Saturday at 1:30 Central European time. Last time West Ham won 4-2, but now this is a very, very different Newcastle team. This is a slightly tired and threadbare West Ham team, so we could see a bit of a different result this time. Of course, Kieran Trippier injured, so how will Newcastle do without their newly born talisman? Again, on Saturday, Arsenal have a Saturday 3:00 kickoff. We are playing against Brentford. Oh, God, I'm so terrified of this game. Of course, they beat us in the first game of the season, 2-0, their first ever win in the Premier League. Arsenal, of course, a lot of players missing from COVID that time. This time we have no squad because we sold them all. Brentford have been in terrible form, but that only makes me more nervous. Hopefully Arsenal will get 3 points. We really need to get 3 points. We've got a run of games that we should be winning, so come on, Arsenal. That is Saturday at 3:00. The rest of the 3:00 kickoffs are Brighton versus Burnley. Brighton looked like they were in good form until they lost to Manchester United. Burnley desperately need points. This could be a game to keep an eye on. We have Liverpool taking on Norwich City. That's only going one way. I think the last 2 times Liverpool have beaten them 3-0, and Norwich haven't beaten them since, I'm going to say, the 90s. We then have Southampton versus Everton, a massive game. Everton off that massive win at the weekend. Southampton, an interesting trend has been noticed in Southampton games. Between the 60th and 70th minute in 14 of the last 24 games, a player has gone down injured, and the Southampton players have all run to the side to take an energy gel. Now, Southampton did particularly well during the lockdown when there was water breaks, and some cynical people, I may be one of them, are saying this is a bit of gamesmanship from Hasenhüttl, and it'll be interesting to see if they do it this weekend now, because if they do, everyone will be going, there it is. So like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme, right? Pointing at the screen. Everyone will be noticing it. But a kind of interesting trend. I don't know how you feel about gamesmanship. I feel like, playing with the rules is quite fun, but I don't know about that. What do you think?
I don't know. I kind of want to know what's in the drinks. Save some for me, guys.
Energy packs.
Yeah. Maybe it's something more. Who knows? No, I think no, I'm just joking. I was thinking, I don't know, of like MDMA in the water bottles, just like to have the last 20 minutes of full sprint.
That's what De Vrij was on last night. That's why he couldn't focus. That's why he couldn't see. Right. Good. Elsewhere, another Saturday 3:00 kickoff. We have Aston Villa against Watford. Last time, Watford actually won this game, but they are still looking for a win under Woy. I'm not going to hold their breath because Aston Villa and Gerrard were pretty pissed off from their last game, so I think they're going to be looking to hurt someone. Loads of Saturday 3:00 kickoffs. We then have Crystal Palace against Chelsea. Palace just not in good form at the moment. A lot of draws, not enough wins. Chelsea, I think this could be a difficult one for Palace. They've not beaten Chelsea in a while either. Then late on Saturday, we have the big game. Could it be 4 weeks in a row without a Tottenham win as they travel to Man City? Of course, in the first game of the season, under Nuno, Tottenham did win 1-0 through a Son Heung-min goal, I want to say. This time, City are looking a lot better. Spurs are looking a lot worse. This could be a bit of a hammering. Me saying that now means that Tottenham are going to win it somehow. How do you see this game going, Tommy? Also, we're going to talk about another Conte interview, but how do you see this game going?
Tottenham City, well, definitely the toughest opposition that City could possibly face at this moment of the season, correct? That's what Guardiola is probably going to say in the pre-match.
They've been fantastic.
Conference.
They've been fantastic. Yeah.
No, I think, I watch much more Serie A than I watch Premier League, but I just think that, I don't know, man. I just think that Man City are going to win it. Maybe not stroll past the Tottenham, but 1-0. They've got those two. That's the thing about Man City. They don't only win like 7-0. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they struggle, and then they come out winners with 1 goal at the 75th minute. So I think that could be one of those games. I don't really know.
We will see. But before we finish the Premier League, Antonio Conte has had another interview talking about how crap Tottenham are, and this now feels like there's so many things I want to ask him. He knew what he was walking into, right? He knew what he was walking into. He's not
a lot of money, a lot of money,
but yes, granted, but also not a lot of money on the pitch, right? He knew he was walking into a team that had arguably a lot of the players are kind of past their peak or getting the kind of on the downward of their career. It now feels like he's gone from appealing for help from the board to like trying to distance himself from any blame. It feels like he's trying to be like, look, none of this is my fault. Have you seen how crap those lot are out there? Which is great to see, because him in the changing room and on the training ground now must be fucking awkward, because this is not like one interview. This is like an interview a week now. This is like regularly. Honestly, obviously, I love it. And please continue doing them on a weekly basis until just after we play you. But I just wonder what the squad make of him and if he's going to be there at the end of the season. I can't see him being there like beyond August. I think he's just going to leave. He only signed an 18-month contract, right?
It's already strange, the fact that he took up the team midway through the season. That's very un-Conte-like. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like Conte is so full of himself. He doesn't want to walk away. He wants to be the one manager that brings silverware in the Spurs trophy cabinet.
How old is he? How long's he got?
I think, well, he's not that old. I think around in his 50s. Yeah, I think he's got time. You wouldn't say by the hair that he's got, but yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Kind of unpredictable. We will see. There were, I read recently that apparently Conte told a confidant that he kind of regrets quitting the Inter Milan job. Yeah.
There's a few of them going about now, isn't there? And then finally on Sunday, we have Leeds United versus Manchester United. This is a game, again, two teams that absolutely hate each other. Leeds have been really, like, they've got to do something to make sure they do not get dragged into this relegation battle. They've really got to start picking up points. Manchester United, we've seen, have been disappointing, but after beating Brighton 2-0, maybe that's a bit of a boost that they need. I think Leeds are almost the perfect opponent for United to come up against this weekend. I feel like they could get a kind of a convincing win here. And then finally, on Sunday at 5:30, we have Wolves taking on Leicester City in a Midlands derby. Wolves having a great season. Leicester having a terrible season. I think Wolves are going to follow up from an impressive win against Tottenham. They're going to follow it up with a win against Leicester. I realize, guys, that I've just given you English and Central European times. You're welcome.
As always, in Serie A, it all kicks off tonight for you listeners as Juventus take on Torino. Rory, how is this game going to go? Even for people who always predict the wrong result, we're pretty sure that we're going to get this one right. Torino are not going to win this game, right?
Although they've been in terrible form. Maybe they just pull it off. They've not beaten Juventus in years. My God.
Juventus are starting to creep through the horizon. And here we've got an hour question from our listeners who are, I don't know if they're concerned or happy about Juventus doing this thin in the horizon. Three in the, no, wait, which question is it? I gotta look for it. My question is, are Inter your favorites to win the league, and will Juve be involved in the title race come April, May? No, I think it's going to be a 3-horse race between Inter and AC Milan especially, and Napoli. I think that Juventus are going to get dangerously close come April, May, but they are not going to have a say in the title challenge. This game kicks off at 8:45 Central European time in Torino, of course. Look at the head-to-head for yourself, guys. Torino haven't won this game in a long time. On Saturday at 3 p.m., we got Sampdoria against Empoli. Vladimiro Falcone, the goalkeeper that we've thoroughly talked about after the game against AC Milan, is making a name for himself, but it appears that he's not enough to keep the ship steady on his own, as Sampdoria have lost 4 of their last 5 Serie A games. On the other side, Empoli are not doing much better. 0 wins across their last 5 games. This will be an interesting bottom of the league matchup at 3 p.m. Central European time. Then we've got Roma, the unpredictable team, taking on at 6 p.m. on Saturday, Hellas Verona. Hellas Verona, one of the revelations of the season with that front 3 that our podcast absolutely loves. Barak, Caprari, and Simeone. They've recently won 4-0 against Udinese, making it 3 wins over the last 5 games. On the other hand, Roma are just unpredictable. 2 wins, a draw, a loss, another draw. You never know with Mourinho's Roma. But did you hear rumors this week about Cristiano Ronaldo maybe interested in signing a contract with Roma next year?
I did, and I thought, yes, please, let's make that happen. That would be incredible. Can you imagine how Rome would explode if Ronaldo turned up at that city?
Man, it would be insane, but I think Ronaldo still wants a little bit of silverware, and I don't think Roma is the city where you can get it.
He's not getting it United either. I hate to break it to him, but
no, yeah. And then we've got the last game on Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Central European time, Salernitana against AC Milan. The stat has been flying around about Mike Maignan having a better record in goal than Donnarumma in any of his seasons as AC Milan at this very point in the Serie A season. Man, I was talking about it last night with a guy at the stadium. Fucking insane. Like what Maignan has been able to do replacing Donnarumma. Everybody thought they had the star goalkeeper, which he is, and they had to replace him desperately with somebody. Maignan has been an incredible signing for the Rossoneri. Let's not forget the first goalkeeper of color in the AC Milan squad ever. And next year, with Onana coming to Inter Milan, it will be the first time that both Milan teams will have a goalkeeper of color in their starting lineups. Andanovic, I love you, but I'm ready for...
It's definitely time, man. It's definitely time.
I'm definitely ready for something new. On Sunday at 12:30 p.m. lunch time matchup between Fiorentina and Atalanta. Let's not forget that Fiorentina have recently defeated Atalanta 3-2 in the Coppa Italia away from home to punch a ticket to the Coppa Italia semifinals. Atalanta are struggling this season, but especially at home. This game will be played in Florence. Remember this, Atalanta, we don't know the result of tonight's game yet, but haven't won a single game across their last 5. Definitely struggling. I sent you that meme of Gasperini without Zapata and somebody did a face edit of Gasperini looking quite chubby. Gasperini without Zapata up front. It looked quite funny, and we're very sorry about Zapata, but he apparently is going to miss probably the rest of the season because
that guy is always he picks up a lot of injuries. That guy, eh?
Yeah, he does. We've got then an interesting relegation fight between Venezia and Genoa at 3 p.m. Venezia notably won their last game against Torino 2-1. In the nick of time, Torino were disallowed a goal at the very end of the game, and that meant 3 points for Venezia. Currently, Venezia are sitting 17th, so right above the relegation zone with 21 points. Genoa are deep down in the drop zone at 15, only 2 above Salernitana. Definitely an important opportunity to make points. And then at 6 p.m., not the easiest game for the Nerazzurri against Sassuolo. Inter have won only 2 of their last 5, losing against AC Milan, drawing against Napoli, and of course, notably losing to Liverpool. This is time to pick up the pace again and make statements in Serie A if we don't want to see that Scudetto slip away from us. And it all wraps up at 8:45 p.m. with Udinese against Lazio. And then 2 Monday night fixtures at 7 p.m. Cagliari-Napoli and at 9 p.m. Bologna-Spezia. And that's it with the Serie A weekend.
I've just seen some incredible news. I was listening, but I was just on Twitter. Breaking, There is now a growing belief within the Man United dressing room that it is inevitable that Cristiano Ronaldo will replace Harry Maguire as captain. This guy.
Well,
that dressing room is not a fun place to be at the moment. This is unbelievable. I love it.
Well, unbelievable. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo is kind of a symbol at Manchester United, and Harry Maguire has been trying hard to get rid of that.
What about
armband,
Ronaldo's performances and general demeanor makes you think he's going to be a captain?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The captain that just bitches and moans at you every single time you do a single thing wrong. Brilliant. Let's have that guy.
Better than Maguire, though?
Fucking yes. Yeah, fair point. But I'm not sure. I think there's better candidates. De Gea, maybe? I don't know. Anyway.
And we're going to close the episode with a little history from Tommaso Adami. This is off script, but I'm just going to say it. 17th of February is a date that I've always known about because it marks the death of a great, great Italian philosopher that in 1600 was burnt alive by the Vatican. Giordano Bruno. Ever heard of his name?
Classic Vatican. No, I haven't. No.
If you go to Rome in Campo De Fiori, I've been dying to go to Rome. Shall we improvise a trip down to Rome whenever?
I'm always up to Christ. Yes. Can we go to Stadio Olimpico, please?
Right. Yeah, let's do it. In Roma, there is a beautiful square, Campo De Fiori, one of the most famous, and there is a sick statue of a man wearing a hood, rocking a mustache, and looking quite pissed off. His name is Giordano Bruno. He was officially executed, like the Roman Catholic Church officially apologized under Pope John, what's his name? Pope
John Paul II, was it?
John Paul II. He officially apologized to him 400 years later for burning him alive. But this guy is a symbol of standing up against the common belief. He was the one that said that a lot of things that the Catholic Church said about the existence of God should be questioned. And I saw quite a few people today posting about him to say, never forget this date. This man made the history because he was warned multiple times from the Catholic Church. And apparently, when he was burnt alive, his last words were, I think you're more afraid of what you're doing than I am of what I am saying.
That's pretty baller.
Look at the statue. If you go to Rome, he looks just like sick. He kind of looks like the guy from Assassin's Creed with a hood, mustache, very serious.
Look at this guy. It's not just football. You are getting education in Italian history. Look at this.
Yeah. But right now we go just right back to football because today, the 17th of February, is also the birthday of one of the most incredible talents that football was ever blessed with. He goes by the name of Adriano. And whenever I think of this name, I just remember the number 10 on the back of the Nerazzurri shirt. Rory, very quickly, before we wrap this up, what is your favorite Adriano memory? What do you think of when you think of Adriano?
Whenever I think of Adriano, I smile and then my heart hurts. I smile because of what a great player he was, how brightly he shone for a short amount of time. I remember him winning the Copa America with Brazil. He was top scorer at that tournament. I think he absolutely killed it. He was top scorer for them again in another tournament. I can't remember which one, but I remember him mainly in a Brazil shirt. I watched him a lot in a Brazil shirt. And then, of course, whenever you mention Adriano, it's like the law you have to say. And in Pro Evolution Soccer, he was absolutely ridiculous. You could score from everywhere. Those are the things I think about with Adriano. If you've not read, there's a great website called the Players Tribune where footballers kind of submit their own articles. And Adriano's is a tough read, but it is a beautiful read. So I would definitely seek that out. You know what? I will stick it on our Twitter tomorrow, so keep an eye on our Twitter for that.
Beautiful. And Rory, since we've been slacking off with our quiz, I'm just going to quiz you very quickly. Can you name the 4 Italian teams that Adriano has played for?
Okay, I think I can do it. Inter, obviously. Roma.
Yes, that was his last Italian club.
Parma.
That was his third Italian club. Which one was the second?
Fiorentina?
It was! Two loan spells from Inter Milan, one at Fiorentina in the 2002 season, 6 goals across 15 games. Then the famous one, 2 years at Parma. 37 appearances in Serie A and 23 goals. And then, of course, Inter Milan. The goal that I will forever treasure in my heart is the one against Udinese. The one, well, just go to the Inter Instagram. They reposted it today with some special effects with like defenders dropping in a hole in the middle of the pitch. That guy was insane. The thing that I will always remember Adriano for is that Inter Milan fans could never forget what Ronaldo had done at Inter. And they were like, we're never going to see anything like that ever again. And then this guy from Rio de Janeiro comes on, and he looks like Ronaldo at times better. His shots are so powerful. He can score free kicks. He can do it all. This guy was insane. The dribbling was incredible. The defenders, you really see the fear in his face. And I will forever remember. I don't remember what season it was. I want to say 2004, 2005. The first game that we played was against Treviso. Treviso had just been promoted to Serie A from Serie B. And there was this right back that was substituted at the end of the second half. And Adriano scored 3, if not 4 goals. And each one of the goals, he would pick out the defender, always the same guy, dribble him, and then shoot on target and score. And I will forever remember this guy. I don't know his name, maybe 21, 22 years old, coming off the pitch in tears. And his teammates being just like, hey, mate, it's fine. Anybody in our team would have suffered the same. He just felt like abuse. This is the memory that I will forever treasure of Adriano.
I was just looking at the Brazil team because I was like, I need to remember who this team was. The front 3 or 4 for Brazil in this 2006 World Cup. I don't know how they didn't win this World Cup. They had Ronaldo and Adriano up front with Ronaldinho and Kaká behind them.
Ooh, baby.
And Gilberto in midfield just sitting there. Oh, my God, what a team. What a team.
Ronaldo turning 40 years old today. Guys, we've gotten to the end of the pod. No weekly topics this time around. Sorry, did I say Ronaldo? Adriano. Got them confused. Adriano turns 40 years old today. Rory, anything else to tell our listeners before we send them off?
We will see you on Monday for the live stream, guys. Tommy will still be in isolation, so he's going to need company. You need to join us, guys. Join us on Monday.
Yes, please.
Keep him entertained.
Yeah.
We'll be there to hopefully celebrate an Arsenal and Inter win. Fingers crossed, right?
Fingers crossed. And we're going to send you off with a quote from Javier Zanetti about Adriano, who is turning 40 years old today. Happy birthday once again. Friend of the pod, Adriano, we would like to say. The quote is, the biggest failure of my career, this is Javier Zanetti speaking, was to never manage to help Adriano out of his depression. Great words from the legendary Inter captain. We'll talk to you soon on Monday night. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod and on Instagram at Anglo-Italian Pod. Talk to you later, guys.